everyone and welcome. Today I want to talk about discipline, and especially I want to talk about empathy in discipline, why it is important and how we use it. Well, when our children are misbehaving, especially when we are in a public space, it is very difficult to keep calm and react in a very appropriate way, especially if we are already upset ourselves. But let's not forget that we are the adults in the room or in the public place, and we need to be the ones in control of our feelings in that moment. And the more we are in control of our feelings, the less likely is our child to escalate his or her feelings or to cause a very huge scene. So keeping calm when our children is misbehaving or throwing a tantrum is very important to either de-escalate the situation or to shorten the time of the tantrum or the situation. But that is not really enough. What we need to do is also talk to our child in a way that shows that we are listening. And the first step we need to do is acknowledge the child's feelings. So when a child is throwing a tantrum or is very upset, they may be angry or sad, we can first of all show them that we understand they are angry, show them that we understand they are sad. We can just say something very simple such as, I see that you are very angry, I see that you are very upset, I'm so sorry to see that you are so upset. We need to do this for two main reasons. One is when a child is throwing a tantrum is usually because they cannot control their feelings. But if they are older children and they can kind of control their feelings, but they're still throwing a tantrum or making a scene, when they are doing this, they may just be trying to show you physically what they are feeling. So if they cry or they stomp their feet, they are just trying to show you what they are feeling, because they cannot express it in words in that moment, or they don't want to express it in words. But if you acknowledge their feelings, then voila, you already accomplished what they wanted you to accomplish, which is understanding what they are feeling. So once you have shown them that you understand what they are feeling, this kind of bomb has already been half diffused, because you already showed them that you know what they are going through. However, at this point, the child may still be angry for obviously a reason, or sad because of something that happened. So what do we do next? What we do next is talking to the child at the same level. We can kneel down next to the child, look the child in the eyes, and talk to the child with respect. And this is much more useful and much more effective than just standing next to the child and talking from up above to the child, because the child will actually feel you are putting your focus on him or on her, and you are actually giving them importance. You're not just dismissing them with a few words, but you are actually taking the time and attention to focus on them. The child sees that you really want to help them. So at this point, the child may talk to you, and you can talk about the problem, whatever it is, and this will diffuse the situation usually. Well, this is exactly what an empathic response is. You are showing your child that you are understanding them. You are being empathetic towards them. And it seems a simple concept really, but is often poo-pooed by many parents because I'm a busy parent, I don't have time for this. But actually, using empathy to talk to your child and acknowledging their feelings first and talking to them like a human being actually helps your cause, helps prevent future problems, helps resolve the present problem quickly, And sometimes it will require a little bit of time at the moment when you are using this kind of method. But once you used it once or twice, then the child has already built a trust towards you, and they will not feel they are just shouted at or they are just being told something to appease them, but they will actually feel that you want to hear them and care for them and care for their problems. So next time there probably won't be a tantrum that big, or there won't be a tantrum at all, or a situation, an escalation of a situation, because they already trust you. They know what's coming next. They know that you care about what they think, and they know there will be some kind of communication with the parent. So using empathy and acknowledging the feelings of a child may take a little bit of investment in time the first or second time you do it, but then it will actually save you a lot of time, a lot of headaches, a lot of fights with your child in the future. And this will translate in a long-term effect as well. When you have built that kind of trust and communication with your child, this will really work very well when the child is a preteen or a teenager as well. Obviously, other things come into play there, but we'll talk about that in another video. But I know what some authoritarian parents will say. They will say, I just called my child and just tell them to do this, and they will just do it because they know that if they don't, something will happen, or because they are afraid of me. Okay. So yes, it will work very well. I admit it will work very well in that moment. If you have created a kingdom of fear in your house and you are scolding your child with all the strictness of authoritarian parenting that you can master, it will work. But first of all, it will not do any good to the psychological development of your child. But worst of all, it will not work for a long time. It will not be an effective strategy for any length of time. As soon as your child learns to respond back, or they become big enough to be strong enough to respond back, either verbally or physically, you won't be able to scare them anymore. Whatever your style is. Authoritarian discipline, authoritarian parenting does not work because it's very short-lived. You cannot scare your children into obedience for their whole lives. Or if you do for a certain period of time, they will sooner or later just rebel. And you may not like the effects of that rebellion. So if you're an authoritarian parent that usually poo-poos the ideas of empathic parenting and talking to your children and acknowledging their feelings because you think it's too weak, or because you think it's a waste of time, it's not a waste of time. It will save you time in the future. It's a long-term effect, and it will build the relationship between you and your child into a stronger one. And last but not least, when we talk to our children, when they are misbehaving and when they are having tantrums, what we say is not really the most important thing. Because especially when children are having a tantrum and they are very young, they are not listening to what you're saying. You need to wait for them to calm down, and then you can talk to them calmly about what happened, what will happen, how this can be avoided in the future, etc. But while they're having a tantrum, you cannot really talk to a child that is having a tantrum. They're not listening. And if you're just scolding a child, and especially in a public space, if you're scolding a child and you're not giving them any face to save, what the child will remember from that experience is just feeling embarrassed, being embarrassed in public by their parents, will feel will feel very negative emotions at the time, and this is what they will remember. The child will remember only the negative feeling, and they will not remember what was said. If you are trying to teach them a rule or discipline them by scolding them at the time, children will not listen to the words that you are saying, but they will remember very well how you made them feel, which is not going to be conducive to a very positive relationship between parent and child, and will not really serve the purpose of learning the lesson, because children are not learning the lesson at the time. Whatever they are learning is, my parent just embarrassed me in a public space, or my mom or my dad doesn't love me or doesn't like me because they just shouted at me something. So using some empathy when our children are misbehaving or when they are having a tantrum is fundamental to building a positive relationship between parents and children, and is also a much more effective practice than scolding or using authoritarian parenting techniques. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please click like, share and subscribe, and you can also follow me on Patreon. Thank you for watching.